Hey there, thanks for coming. Is someone who saved hundreds of lives by betraying his friends a hero or a villain? If you thought hero, then you'd be part of the 60% of people who think so too. And if you thought villain, well, you can do the maths. This divisive question is one that the series My Hero Academia struggles with as well. And in this video, we're gonna figure out what the practical answer is, and how you can use this information to improve your social life. Ready? Story time. In a world on the cusp of supernatural war, Hawks, the second greatest hero in My Hero Academia, carries a heavy burden on his shoulders. Since his youth, he's meticulously trained to be everywhere, see everything, and save everyone. The best part? The man's a team player to the core, the kind who will willingly sacrifice himself for the greater good without a second's hesitation. And that's exactly what led to his angelic fall from grace. See, Hawks' goal in life is to save as many people as humanly possible before his time on Earth is up. That's why when he caught wind of a top-secret undercover operation to infiltrate the League of Villains, he was first in line. Deceit, manipulation, betrayal, these were all skills that the number 2 hero uniquely possessed, skills that the like of All Might or Endeavor did not have at their disposal. Over the course of the mission, he played his part beautifully, almost too well in fact, because he managed to not only gain the trust of the villains, but to also befriend one of them. That's Twice. Twice is a tragic character, a lost man warped by the unfairness of reality. All he ever wanted out of life was to find people who would accept him the way he was. All he ever wanted was friends. Right off the bat, Twice's story pulls at your heartstrings. You can't help but empathize with the guy. Here's a man down on his luck, severely ill and all alone in life. Loneliness, depression, these were things that he struggled with daily. So when he does eventually find friends, he's fiercely loyal to them and will protect them at any cost, because he knows better than anyone what the bitterness of the world can do to a person. Of course, the one-sided relationship between Hawks and Twice was doomed to fail, and eventually ends with Hawks betraying and taking the life of his unsuspecting friend Twice, losing his wings, a symbol of his innocence in the process. Now that you know the full story, let me ask you again. Does Hawks killing Twice to save thousands of lives make him admirable? Heroic? Can his manipulation, deceit, and betrayal of Jin Bubaigawara be justified? The rational logicians among you are still probably thinking, come on man, of course it's justified. Hawks killed one guy to save thousands. How's that not worth? The numbers make perfect sense. Or maybe the more sentimental of you might have changed your mind. Yeah, maybe deception and betrayal shouldn't be justifiable after all, especially when the victim is so sad. There's always another way. And this split in your collective opinions reflect exactly the difference between the two characters, Hawks and Twice. Hawks is the rational logician, cold-hearted and calculative, willing to do whatever necessary for the good of the majority, while Twice is more sentimental, a man who wouldn't sell out his friends even if the world depended on it. And so, because the show labels Hawks the hero and Twice the villain, it seems like a pretty open and shut case, right? Well, no, not really. I'd argue that in the entire Hawks vs. Twice arc, the roles were reversed. And if you've seen it, then you probably felt it too. The eerie music that comes on every time Hawks is on screen, foreshadowing something sinister. The cold, menacing glances he gives Twice, in contrast to the unconditional trust and welcoming words he receives in return. Who truly is the villain here? Isn't deceit meant to be a tool used exclusively by the bad guys? And isn't warm-heartedness and camaraderie meant to be a good guy thing? Let's be real here for a second. Sure, there are benefits to deception, many of them. And in war, you have to use every tool in your arsenal if you want to come out on top. But that doesn't mean there aren't any consequences. My Hero Academia justifies Hawks' deceit by letting him win in the end, but the series also makes him suffer heavily for it. The fallen angel first loses his wings and becomes corrupt. His hands are stained now, and that can never be undone. It's likely he sustained permanent physical as well as emotional damage, and he'll have to live with the fact that he killed a man that thought of him as a friend, for the rest of his life. But the worst part is, people are gonna look at him differently from now on. They now know the levels of depravity Hawks will stoop to in the name of the greater good, and they'll be less trusting and more guarded around him, harboring a subtle, perhaps even irrational fear of being sold out too. Alright, so can deception ever be justified? Well, according to My Hero Academia, it's complicated. There's an answer here, but it's not a convincing enough one, for me at least. So let's take a look at how it works in the real world to help us arrive at our answer. As a guy, the advice I've heard all my life is to always tell the truth. A man is only as good as his word. The truth will set you free, yada yada. Yet, when I'm actually out and about, I see deceit everywhere. And no, I don't necessarily mean rampant backstabbing and manipulation. More like the smaller things, the harmless little white lies. Hey, how you doing? I'm good, how about you? Yeah. But are you really good? Does this dress make me look fat? Is my hair okay? On the surface, it might seem a little uptight to nitpick at these harmless lies of courtesy, but in the age of record-breaking levels of social isolation, I think it's more important than ever to be able to connect to other people. The problem with any form of deceit, then, is that it eliminates this possibility. Trust is a necessary first step towards social connection. And if you don't say what you mean to other people, but instead always just tell them what they want to hear, then they'll know. Maybe not the first time, maybe not the second time, but eventually they'll figure it out. And yeah, no one's gonna give you a hard time for telling them they look good when they actually don't. But somewhere deep in their minds, they'll remember that if they ever need a serious opinion about something, they can't come to you. And the real-life consequences of deceit get worse the more you do it. Lies can quickly compound and get out of hand. If you tell two people two different stories, you'll need to always remember what you said and to who. Do this for long enough and your house of cards will eventually come crashing down. That's why psychopaths who deceive other people for a living always have to move when they get found out. And it doesn't even matter the reason for your deceit. You can lie to someone in order to save the world. He'll still never trust you again. Don't believe me? Well, who would you want to be close friends with? 1. Someone you know who wants the best for society, but has been known to sell out his friends for the bigger picture. Or 2. Someone who doesn't give too much of an ass about what society's up to, but is fiercely loyal to his friends, willing to even go to war for them. Would you rather be friends with Hawks, who would kill his friends, or Twice, who would die for them? Let's cut to the cheese. At the base of it, the answer to whether or not deception is justifiable is really about what you're trying to accomplish. If you want a philosophical debate, then this can go on and on. But if you're a more practical kind of guy like me, then there's one clear answer. Don't deceive. Because people value people who can tell the truth. Psychopaths who make it their life's goal to deceive as many people as possible never win. Because life is a long-term game. Your reputation is important, and trust contributes to that immensely. Hawks may have won the battle for Team Hero with his deception of Twice, but that betrayed trust will hang over him for the rest of his career. His sparkling reputation is now permanently stained. But come on, who am I kidding? No one can be truthful 100% of the time, right? That's really, really hard. And to be honest with you, I struggle with that too. I do make it a point to be as truthful as I possibly can, and no, it's not for a noble reason, like for the betterment of society or anything. What it boils down to is, I'm doing it for the same reason as you, for my own personal gain, for my reputation. And let me be completely honest with you right now, it works. In the last 2 years, I've managed to solidify a reputation for telling the truth and not BSing people. And it's made my social and professional life a lot better, all by just sticking to my word and trying not to say things I don't mean. So if I can leave you with just one takeaway from my experience, it would be this. Don't kiss ass out of politeness. Don't tell white lies to make people feel better. But also, don't be afraid to express your feelings of gratitude and admiration to the people you truly have those feelings for. And this last bit helps my social relationships so much. Just a simple, hey man, I really missed you, after seeing a friend you haven't seen in a while, is good enough. The key here is to be honest with your emotions as much as possible. This way, you'll never have to fight yourself or hear that annoying little voice in the back of your head calling you a liar, and that works wonders for your mental health. So I hope my ramblings brought some value to your life. And if you're still here, why not subscribe and join the gang? I'm Sorex, and if you're new here, this channel is all about helping misdirected young men improve themselves through the power of story. Sometimes anime stories, sometimes my own. Speaking of which, if you liked this one, then you'll probably like this video I made about the dark side of being too good. So click on that and I'll see you there.